Hello everybody, Jared here. Wanted to make a video to explain how you can use bearhawk tips to your advantage in the process of building your airplane. As you know, one of the big projects in building an airplane is information management, knowing what parts you have, what parts you need, what those parts are for, the skills for how to complete tasks, and also what order they need to be completed in and how they need to be done. There's a lot to it. Bearhawk information has been historically scattered around. There's been a lot of different places you had to go to get it. And my hope in creating this site was to try and consolidate a little bit, or at least provide a bookshelf, if you will, for the information to sit on. Right now, there are only two books on the shelf. There is the Bear Tracks archive, which is all the old newsletters, and there's the Kit Builder manual. The Bear Tracks archive has a lot of good information over the course of 26 years now. I've only been running it for a little while. There were other folks who assembled the information before. Some of it's social stories like flying reports and things like that. There's a lot about how to build the airplane and different methods for doing different things. When we had the archive before, it was all just in the original PDF format, and it was, of course, sorted by date. So if you happen to know that what you wanted was in the 2007 third quarter issue, you could go there and find it. And so I needed a way to sort it not by date, but rather by topic, because if you're building an airplane in 2021 and just getting started, you probably don't really care when it came out or when the information came out. You just want the information. So over on the right side of the screen, there are all these different topics. If you click on one of these black arrows, it will expand. That means there's a subcategory. So in the firewall forward section, we have accessories, cowling, engine. In the engine section, carburetors, cylinder cooling, and so forth. You can browse by category here, and that's useful. I think the most useful thing is probably to search, and there's a box right up here to search. You can tell that the website's very plain. P-L-A-I-N, that is. We wanted to keep it simple so that it would load quickly, even if you had marginal access to the internet. Of course, once you get into the articles, if they have photos, those photos are relatively high resolution, and that it may take a second to load the actual content, but at least we wanted it to be fast in getting you to the content. Over the years, the Kit Builder manual was really, I guess, 5 different PDFs. Those were assembled in, say, the early 2000s, and they were a start to finish book. The book was definitely a good start, and it got us through, well, a long time, 10, 15 years, I guess. And so these 5 PDFs had topics that got you started, kind of some prerequisites, if you will, and then took you through in a sequence for primarily the fuselage or the wings. It's kind of the way that they were divided up. Having a manual that takes all of the tasks and puts them from start to finish can seem really useful, but this isn't the type of project that really works that way. There's a lot more complexity to it, and there's a lot of places you can start. There are a lot of tasks you can do that don't really require any prerequisite steps, but there are more that do. So the sequence is important, but it's not really linear. It's not really a start to finish project, and a start to finish manual doesn't really serve us very well because of that. Another problem is maintenance. This particular manual, when it comes time to update this manual, if we make a change, say we need to really expand the section about how to assemble the shock struts, if that pushes the subsequent material down 4 pages, now all of that has to be reformatted, all the page numbers have to change. It makes it difficult to change the manual, which means we're disincentivized to update the manual and keep it really current. And that's not going to provide the best builder experience. And so thinking about all these different factors, the non-linear aspect of the project, the difficulty in maintaining it, and honestly, as the kit factory continues to produce the different types, we're up to 5 now, and I say we, as the Bearhawk community, I'm not a part of the factory. There are 5 different types. Some of those concepts apply to all 5, some apply to only 1. And it was looking like it was going to be really difficult to grow this and scale it in a good way with a start to finish PDF manual for each type. As we thought about the various shortcomings of a start to finish manual that doesn't really match a start to finish project, and also the challenge of being able to mix and match certain parts and consolidate the overlapping articles so that if we needed to update a task that applies to all 5 types, we could update it in one place and it would automatically update across the fleet. Those factors led me to try and think, what is a way that we could really produce the information from the builder perspective in the most effective way possible? And then I saw a set of Sonnex plans, and the Sonnex guys, one of the ways that they present this sequence of building is they provide a chart, sort of like a tree, or a map, if you will, and at one end is the final step, which is to fly your completed airplane. The other ends of that tree are the tasks that you can do with no prerequisites, and those all flow together as you build and the number of tasks become completed. And so this is a third-party software that is built to make trees and things, and it makes it relatively easy to manage. The link to this map is on the Kit Builder Manual front page of bearhawk.tips, which is bearhawk.tips/kit. So on this page there are links for a 4-place map, a patrol map, and an LSA map. The 5 and the companion are close enough that we haven't split those off yet. So getting to the MindMeister website, down in the lower right there are 2 zoom buttons. I'm going to click on the zoom out button. And then in this center field where the map is, I can click and hold and drag the map around. Close the cookie box. So there's an orange box here that says fly your new Bearhawk 4-place. And as we scroll around, we can see different tasks. It's hard to read right now, it's very small. But the good thing is you don't have to read it all at once. You zoom into the part that you need to see. Over to the right are green boxes with prerequisites. Any green box is a starting point. It's something you can do without any prior steps. If a box has a little arrow inside a circle, that is a link. And this orange box does not have a link, but the green one does. And so if you click on this link, it takes you to an article which talks about prerequisites. So it opens in a new window. Oh no, we're not authorized. It would be great if we could provide this without any type of authorization, but we decided to not do it that way for several reasons. One is that it was a very large project to create this, and like to have some return on that effort, if you will, and the ongoing expense of keeping the website going. Spend a lot of money on hosting secure certificates, lots of internet stuff to keep this site, the forum, the safety site, and several others going. But the important thing is, if you have purchased a quick build kit, you've spent enough money, so the manual is included basically. We're not going to ask for any more money. If you're a scratch builder and would think that this would be useful, it's a small charge to join in. So we come to a page like this. It's asking for authentication, username and password. I don't have a username and password. I need to register. Let's see. Oh, down here at the bottom there's a link. It says Get Kit Builder Manual Access. Alright, so there's some talk there about what we're doing, what's available. And there's a link that says sign up. Alright, first name, Jared, last name Builder. Can't use my real name, so you'd know who I was. More importantly, there's another user with that name already. Let's see, I have plans for a Bearhawk 4-place. I have a plans number. If you don't have plans yet, just put something in there. It's okay. It's not really going to validate. It just helps us keep track. Let's see, my plans are and 60 something, I think. If you want to include any of this other information, you can. It's not necessary. You need to pick a username. The username is case sensitive, and spaces matter. So I've seen some pretty strange ones come by. I try and keep it kind of simple. Put in a password. Now, we get to the bottom here, and you have a few options. These are your payment methods. If you own a quick build kit, well, you don't need to pay any money, so you select that method. If you are going to pay with money, then there are three options there. PayPal and Stripe are interchangeable, basically, whichever one you like better. They both take the money from your bank or your credit card, take a fee, and send us the rest. If none of these methods work for you, just reach out. We'll sort something out. We're going to pretend like you have purchased a kit, or I have purchased a kit, so we're going to use that method just to show how it goes. You can sign up for the newsletter if you want, but I'm not really sending anything right now to that newsletter. Might send this video. All right, I'll go submit. Even though it says $50, we're not really spending the $50. So we've completed that process. Now, on my end, I'll get a notification that you signed up, and I'll go in and authorize the user. So it may take a moment for that to happen. This depends on if I'm sitting at my computer or if I'm out mowing the runway or flying around. So that was a quick pause while I switched to the other browser window and authenticated myself. Let's see what it looks like now. We'll refresh this page. There we go. So now here's a nice long article about how the plans work, how the newsletters work, what kind of books you should read, project mindset, all kinds of good stuff. If you've already built a few airplanes, we probably have something to teach about that, but if it's your first one like it was for me, this might be useful. So getting back to the map, you can click on types of threads. This talks about how threads work. You've got bolts, you've got pipe threads, you've got flare fittings, you've got lots of different things, coarse and fine. This is a good article. If you don't know about that sort of thing, it's a good article to introduce those topics. Same things for making control cables, making plumbing like fuel lines and pitot-static lines, how to drill holes, thinking about aluminum and riveting, and so forth. So those are all the good things to read before you start building. We use this third-party software called MindMeister for the maps, and I would love for this to be more contained on our own website. When I made the decision to split this off to its own website, it was because the function and utility of the MindMeister website interface was so much better, it made it worth the inconsistency of having it on a different website. This website does not require any login. You can access the maps that I've created publicly with no credentials. If you would like to customize this map, maybe delete the boxes as you go, you can create your own account at MindMeister for free and basically branch our map. So you can take this map and make it your own and edit it however you like. But let's say you're ready to go to the shop and start making an airplane. Scrolling over to this side of the map, there are a few different branches on this tree. This one is the fuselage branch, so it ends at, or it doesn't end, but it kind of consolidates to covering the fuselage, and then it joins up at the final assembly box. So starting on the fuselage, you can start over here at any green box. So there's a box for install elevator trim torque tubes. Click on the little arrow. There's the article about how to install the elevator torque tube system, and so forth as you go across. The idea is that you don't want to start over here at install elevators because you haven't installed the horizontal stabilizers and you haven't installed the torque tubes. If you install the horizontal stabilizers without installing the torque tubes, well, you'll have to take them off to install the torque tubes. And so that's why the information is presented like it is. It flows together as you go from left to right in this case. Let's say maybe you're in a garage. You don't really want to mess with the tail surfaces yet. Where's another place you can start on the fuselage? Well, you can start in the cabin. So Down here, you can attach brake pedals and rudder pedals, or to the rudder pedals, install the brake master cylinders, and so forth. You can get all of those things done. That's not going to take up as much room in your shop as the tail surfaces. Let's see, zooming out a little bit. There's a branch here for the landing gear, basically. You got your wheels and brakes, shock struts, getting the gear onto the fuselage. This is a firewall forward branch here, which is to install the engine mount, select the engine, and so forth. Some of these don't have an article, like install the prop and spinner. There's not a link there. There's not a circle with an arrow in it, and that's because you need to follow the specific instructions for your prop and spinner. Installing the engine controls, well, that's something that we just haven't gotten around to writing an article about. But if you're a builder and you think it sure would be nice to have more information about one particular topic, the best thing you can do is you can write an article and send it to me, and I'll put it in there. The second best thing you can do is to send me a note and say, I really need some more information about this step. And at least then we can find somebody to write it if I can't write it, or we can get Mark Goldberg to write something for us. There's lots of options if we know there's a need. This branch at the top is the wing branch, so several different green boxes, places where you can start depending on what you're up to, leading up to attaching the wings to the fuselage, putting the flaps and ailerons onto the wing, which if you have a more recent kit, thankfully those things are already done. So those are all various steps on the tree, and the idea is that you can find the section that really applies to you, what you're trying to do, print that out or put it on a tablet or a computer and take it with you to the hangar. And it's not a start to finish manual that you print 250 pages and take with you, but rather you just come and get what you need. So the idea is that the information is here for you to consume as you need it, but not too much before. If we print out a manual that's 250 pages on day one of the project, and let's say you spend 8 months getting your wings ready, no judgment about whether that's a long time or a short time, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different life needs. But let's say that 8 months passes and there have been changes to the fuselage section of the manual or the tails surfaces section of the manual. By coming to the articles close to when you need them, you ensure that you get the most current information. And so that's one of the advantages of not having a big long manual. Now, perhaps the biggest disadvantage of this dynamically generated manual, or kind of just in time if you want to really get cliche about it, is what if you just aren't really a computer person, you really just want things on paper, you want to make notes in the margin. Well, don't have a great solution for you yet. We'll work on something. The original manuals are still on the Bearhawk Aircraft website, and all of these articles started as articles in that manual and then have been updated. So I'd like to say that this content supersedes that manual content. If you're someone who would like to have the information in a hard copy PDF, let's talk about it so that I can better understand how to do that for you in a useful way, because I haven't really thought of a good way to do it that makes it into still a useful manual. As you navigate this map, all of these links with the little circles and arrows will take you to sections of the bearhawk.tips website that are part of the Kit Builder Manual. And as I said before, the hope for the bearhawk.tips website was that it would be a bookshelf with several books. If you're on the website itself, and let's say you click on the fuel system, the blue part where the word is there, this is going to show you all of the different articles that relate to the fuel systems. Notice that some are red and some are green. The Kit Builder Manual section those are the green sections, and so you will have full access to all of those. As you can see, that's in there. But if you get to the certain part of the red articles, go back up to one, those are part of the Bear Tracks archive. There was an article in the Bear Tracks about how to make fuel sight gauges with clear rigid PVC. In the ideal world, we wouldn't ask for any money. Everything would just flow freely. But the world we live in, we have to pay bills to internet hosting companies and things. And so That's why we ask for a little bit of money for the BearTracks archive. If you do not want to purchase the archive, but you still want to use the Kit Builder manual, just navigate from the map. Click on these links. You'll never be led into a BearTracks article by these links. There are a couple of BearTracks articles that are also part of the Kit Builder manual, but you'll be able to see them. I think that there is a lot of value in the BearTracks archive, and I haven't really had anybody say, you know, I gave you some money for those articles and I didn't really feel like I got good value out of that. So if that happens, if you purchase the content and don't really find that it meets your expectations, certainly let me know. But most folks find that for the volume of information that you get, it's well worth it. So hopefully that gives you a good introduction of how to use these sites to your advantage. If there's any way that you can think of that would make this easier or more productive for you in building your airplane, I hope you'll let me know, because this is the best I can think of to present the information in the most productive way. But that doesn't mean it has to always be this way. If we can come up with a better way, I'm all for it. But thank you for your support, and just let me know if you have any questions.